we're here with a man who's played a plethora of characters in the galaxy far, far away. Jerome St John Blake, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
We're having a good time, aren't we, mate?
I'm having a saucy time.
He's having a saucy time, but
I must have gone to the wrong concession stand. Nothing saucy going on over here.
You need to join in the filth.
Sandwiches and potato salad is as saucy as I've got.
We interrupted your lunch, so I'm sorry about that.
No, it's absolutely fine.
It's such a British thing.
It was hardly gourmet.
Egg sandwich and potato salad for a British lunch. But so we obviously mentioned you've played enough characters across the galaxy. Do you want to let our listeners know who what masks and costumes you've donned?
And I've played 7 different characters across the Prequel Trilogy. In fact, 7 in The Phantom Menace, and some of them stuck around for the after show, in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Amedda, Vice Chancellor of the Galactic Senate, Rune Haako, Nemoidian Attorney, Ornfree Tar, Senator Graxo Kelvin, Horrocks Ryder, Senators, Oppo Rancisis, Jedi Counselor.
Wow.
And recently named, because originally when we filmed this guy, he was another Nemoidian called Lot Dodd's assistant. But about 4 years ago, I think it was, 5 years ago, they actually gave him a name, which is Mick Regrap.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, which is, I'm told, is an anagram of a gentleman named Kim Parker who worked on the movies.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, there's a reason behind all of them.
There is.
They have a special algorithm, don't they?
They do.
Ornfree Tar was named by Nick Dudman, who was the creature effects supervisor. And his naming of that character is a thank you to a makeup artist called Stuart Freeborn, who got Nick started, gave him his first job, in fact, on Empire Strikes Back. And so Ornfree Tar started out as Ornfreeb, so Freeborn backwards, Tar as in thank you. So it was Nick's, public acknowledgement of Stuart Freeborn helping him get started. But then, the powers that be thought, we'll put an extra A on to make it look a little more like, Star Wars-y, yes. So there you go.
That is fantastic. So, like you said, you've worked on a lot of the films. I see a lot of Phantom Menace here.
Yeah.
How was it working on the Phantom Menace? Because that almost feels like I remember it like yesterday. Yeah. Like the build up to Phantom Menace. But at the same time, that was now more than 20 years ago. 22 years ago.
I actually started work on it almost 25 years ago.
Of course. I mean, how was that? Because a lot of people, I think, forget they associate the prequel trilogy with CGI.
Yeah.
But actually, the Phantom Menace had a lot of practical effects in it, right?
Yeah, and over the course of the prequels, it was noticeable how much more reliant on CGI the studio became. Because, as you rightly pointed out, on Phantom Menace, not only was a lot of the foreground action real, but there were real sets as well.
Yeah.
Whereas by the time we got to Revenge of the Sith, it was almost all green screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of the people we've spoken to at this convention and a recent one we went to in Essex, they're all very much from the original trilogy. So, firstly, it's incredible to actually speak to someone who's in the prequels, because all the sequels. Yeah, we haven't had enough prequel boys out there, because I first saw the originals before the prequels, but these are the first ones I saw in the cinema.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic to finally speak to someone who's worked so in-depthly on them. But what are your kind of overriding thoughts on them now? Because there was a time when it was cool to say how bad they were. Now they're getting a kind of a re-evaluation. But what are your thoughts from having been behind the scenes on them?
From day one, George Lucas was on a hiding to nothing. Because after 17 years of expectation, with something as popular as Star Wars was by then, even if he had made something that would be ranked alongside Godfather 2 in space, that still wouldn't be good enough for everyone.
Right.
There would have been hate mail, no matter
regardless
how good the movie was.
Yeah.
With the benefit of hindsight, at the time, strangely enough, I was talking about this earlier on today. at the time at conventions, when people still had VHS cassettes, there was a cassette that you could buy at conventions called the Phantom Edit. And there were rumours at the time.
Have you really?
There were rumours at the time that Brian De Palma, the director, had done this. Just got the movie and chopped out all the pregnant pauses and the silence. Kept all the dialogue, but just tightened the whole thing. As it turned out, it wasn't Brian. But it was a much more effective movie just for tightening it up. And truthfully, I think you could say the same thing about Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith as well. There's good stuff in there, but all of them were too long, basically. Now, last time I did a show in America, a guy came up to me and said, I watched The Phantom Menace the other day. It's a better film than I remember it.
Yeah, I feel like that.
And I think that's. I think there is a kind of general feeling now that they were. Never mind the hiding to nothing that George was on in the first place. It was, like you said, it was almost fashionable to slate them.
Yes, always is, and the difference is now, like people like me, I grew up with this stuff as a kid.
Yep.
I'm now an adult. I can spend money. Today on the stalls, I didn't buy an original trilogy thing. I bought a prequel thing.
Right. Yep.
Right? Because now that's valuable to me. Right? So now there's this generation that has a voice all of a sudden, right?
Now we're 2 generations down the road.
Yes.
I've had experience of people coming up who were kids, when Phantom Menace came out, like 5-6 years old. That is their entry level into Star Wars, and you can't. I was amazed, frankly, when it took Disney so long to catch on to the fact that, if we keep retreading A New Hope but calling it something different, we're going to run out of steam fairly soon.
Yeah.
And then somebody at some point tapped somebody on the shoulder and said, "You need to get a bit of prequel stuff in there."
It did feel like that, didn't it? We commented on that when, from sort of 2014 onwards, when a lot of the new canon started being released. So the films, the animated stuff, the books and comics, they're all very much related to the OT, which we kind of get. Dip your toe in the water, get the fans back on board with familiar stuff. But now we're seeing an absolute resurgence, and we're talking about that. I mean, Orn Free Tar recently in the Bad Batch animated series, Maz Amedda was a big part of the Aftermath canon trilogy. So these characters are coming back, and they're being brought back and being given
I want to know why
good
I wasn't
roles.
given the voice job for that Maz Amedda character.
Well, we'll have to have a word about that.
It's my.
He's literally right there next to Terrence Stamp.
That is the first day of filming on The Phantom Menace.
Is it really?
Yeah, and that scene on the page was about 5 minutes long.
And in reality,
the movie, it was cut down to about.
Is this the one with Natalie Portman's tennis ball on a stick? Is that one?
This is.
I'm not going to comment on that.
A lot of this again.
Because you got Chancellor Valorum, Terrence Stamp looking a bit upset. He's been ousted.
The background's not there, right? This stuff's not there, but
the actual pod that we're standing on is real.
Yeah,
it's floating
that's
about
real.
20 feet up in the air.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow! And everything behind it, that's green, right? Green screen.
It was blue on that movie.
Of course, yeah. Prequel, Phantom Menace, a lot of it was blue, wasn't it? Well, this has been fantastic, Jerome. Thank you so much. May the Force be with you.
And may the Force be with you too.